these producers who can't sell beats are trying any way possible to make money, and they're predators now.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
What's going down? It's the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast. Aaron is unfortunately not with us today, but we'll be back shortly. Dame, how are you feeling?
Man, and I forget. And actually, let me go to the page because I want to give this young lady credit for saying it, but she has two different handles on Twitter and Instagram, so I always forget. So Nikki Zahidi, when she posted on Twitter and then I reposted on her Instagram, she says working in the music industry is so weird because one day you wake up feeling accomplished and that all the dots are finally connecting, and the next day you feel like shit because everything is falling apart and you contemplate your whole existence and career. And I feel like this is just one of those weeks, man. It's just very high highs and very low lows, right? So I won't speak to the low lows yet. But on the high side, I had a very positive conversation with somebody that I hadn't talked to in a very long time, and Dizzy Wright. We had a very positive, mature conversation. So that made me feel really good. The other good thing that's happening is we're putting together a soundtrack for Ja's next web series called Cuddle Season. And it's coming together like really dope. Like this is going to be a really dope R&B project. So I'm really excited about that. Because if anybody's been following me for quite some time, they know I'm a big R&B fan. So that's going amazing. But there's definitely some stuff that's trying to bring me low. And I hope I don't ever have to talk about it. But it's the music industry, man. How's your week going? How's your week going? You're on mute, Payne.
So everybody was talking about this eclipse and a lot of other celestial events affecting humans. Without getting into it, I do feel like a lot of craziness did correspond to that particular celestial event. And nothing that necessarily affected me directly, but a lot of the people around me are certainly feeling those effects. And I'm not even sure how to describe it because it's just, when you notice some kind of large scale energetic shift towards maybe negative emotions or occurrences. Someone I know was going through a family crisis suddenly, unexpectedly. And then that was just like a domino effect. I had a weird interaction with somebody that was trying to book me for an event that just blew up into an abrupt end of conversation and didn't go as planned. And yeah, it was just a lot of stuff that happened where I just kind of was thinking, well, this is why I don't leave the house. So hey.
And this is just the music industry, Pete. Obviously, we had the election and the election results last night. I'm not even going to go into that, but this country is in bad shape. I obviously caught wind of a lot of the results on Twitter. But yeah, that's depressing as well. When you start to hear, some of the results and what people are voting for, and, slavery still existing in state constitutions, and people anyway, this is obviously not a political podcast and I don't want to go down that, but it's something that affects it. If it's something that you're in tune with, it's something that affects you if you're part of the music industry or just a person But anyway, so let's jump into some topics. What I really wanted to talk about this week, we're going to punt it until Erin gets back because I think she's going to have some valuable insight. So next week, what we'll talk about is like why groups break up. We saw that Math Hoffa's podcast, that team broke up. We're seeing that a lot in podcasting. It's pretty much starting to emulate what happens in the music industry. I mean, obviously, it's a lot of music people going to podcasting. So, I think that's going to be an interesting conversation, but we need Erin for that because I know that she's going to have some insight and be able to share some of her own experiences. But I want to just talk about like social media and like what's working right now, what isn't working. Obviously, Twitter being taken over by Elon Musk. He's already, starting a shitload of changes. Twitter Blue, $8 a month. So you're going to get a check. You're going to get your blue check. So I guess the definition of a blue check is changing.
Completely. I mean, we already kind of assign a lot of extra value to the blue check besides its initial true meaning, which I have thoughts on. I'll talk about that.
So so as of now, like with Twitter Blue, how are you feeling, Payne? Are you signing up? Are you giving $8 a month, or do you need more information? Should an artist or producer pay $8 a month from what we know now?
I was honestly considering at some point in my life possibly getting a Tesla. Not anymore. There are other EVs that are just as functional, and I'm not a fan of this Elon Musk stuff. I'm not paying $8 for a badge that verifies my identity, which has already been verified. When I went through that verification process with Twitter, it was a matter of me submitting legal documents to verify my own identity. That's like me paying $8 a month for a driver's license. Granted, a driver's license is a physical thing. I got to pay for the photo and the printout, and that comes with the infrastructure and whatever that the city pays for with my money. Twitter Blue is just me maintaining my verified identity as a public figure. I had someone on Instagram impersonate me and scam people for, I don't know how much money he got out of people, but it was already unfortunate enough because whoever was scamming people didn't have a blue check and my actual real account does. You're starting to see this with scammers where I was seeing, this is crazy, the producer scammers. I mean, it's just funny to see these producers. I'm going on a little left, but these producers who can't sell beats are trying any way possible to make money, and they're predators now. They are predating their own people. They know that they can find ways to scam producers because they themselves are producers. So this new scam I was seeing is they take how you can fake DMs with celebrities. So they're like DM generators. So the one I saw was with Lil Baby. They would fake a conversation with Lil Baby talking about, hey, I send beats now, but we can't talk on this profile, talk on this other profile, which was an unverified profile. So then they post these screenshots and be like, I got the plug with Lil Baby. The dumbass producers go over to that unverified profile, strike up a conversation. Next thing you know, they're asking for some money to submit beats. So even with the verification system in place, scamming is still sidestepping that because people are just stupid. I'm done sugarcoating it. I'm sorry if you're so desperate and so naive, but this is stupid of you to do. Now, I feel bad for the people that got scammed by following the fake DJ Payne 1 account, but I'm like, damn, if my actual account is verified and people are still getting scammed, which is what verification is meant to prevent, among other things. Twitter Blue, you just pay $8 and you get a check. You can impersonate any damn buddy, and now everyone's going to be. This is like a dream for scammers.
Yeah. So I mean, so obviously all the details haven't been rolled out yet. Because I even heard, because I think eventually, like, it won't be the same blue check. It won't be the same check. I think they'll have to have like a check for, hey, this is an account that is part of Twitter Blue. But I think there has to be some other designation for celebrities or public figures. Maybe you get 2 blue checks or yours.
Well, as of right now, it says if you currently have a blue check, you will lose it if you don't pay. That's what I read in the documentation.
But I hope that again, Elon's changing these rules like as we go, right? Like he didn't, and it's funny because like he's changing rules just based off like people parroting his account. So he made up a random rule and, suspended Kathy Griffin's page for parroting his account. And she just made that rule like one day.
Yeah,
and
he
then
sounded like a child.
he makes up a rule, and then like if you violated that rule probably before you even knew about the rule, like he takes your shit down. So I just think all this stuff is evolving. The one thing that I am concerned about though, because he was in an interview, he said if you don't have Twitter Blue, like your tweets are going to be suppressed. So people won't see. I don't even know how many people see my tweets now. Like I have a lot of followers. I think, well, my case is different because I know a lot of people just don't rock with me or like me because I'm no longer running Funk Volume, and that's how I got most of my followers. But I don't even know how many people are seeing my tweets now. So you're telling me now if I don't pay $8 a month, like less people are going to see my tweets. Does that make me want to use Twitter Blue, or does that make me just want to leave Twitter? Like, how does that shake out? How do you feel about that? Because that's super whack, in my opinion.
Well, here's my opinion. And I think this is interesting to me because now we're talking about social media in general. With Twitter, the benefit of Twitter was always that they had the most democratic algorithm, I think, or
used to at least.
Well, up until whatever is coming comes. And now, everyone was sick of Facebook when Facebook implemented these changes. Everyone was tired of Instagram because Instagram's been doing the same thing. YouTube, been bad. But none of these sites spell it out so clearly. With Twitter, there's no ambiguity. Elon Musk is coming out flat out saying, if you don't pay, you're not getting seen, which is the entire appeal of Twitter. Twitter is like the last place where you can tweet something, and if it's good, people will see it regardless of
right.
Whether or not you're paying for ads. All the other sites, they have the same policy. So I feel like Twitter is just entering the final stages of its existence because that's what generally happens. A social media platforms begins, there's hype, everyone joins, it's democratic. There's this renaissance period where everyone loves it, and then suddenly the company's like, cool, time to make money. No one gets seen unless they're paying because we want these advertising dollars.
Well, this one's different because this isn't advertising dollar. This is actually just
directly from users,
paying for the service. So for me, I have to see like who sticks around on Twitter, right? Like if everybody's still here and you're saying I got to pay $8, like I want the MEC to be amplified. I want the things that I'm doing to be seen. So I as much as I would hate giving him my $8 a month, I would probably pay for it if the same people are around. If the same people stay on Twitter, right? If Twitter turns into just a bunch of Elon Musk fanboys, then I'm out. Like there's no, like, I'm not, I think in my personal opinion, he's putting too much of his identity. He has such a dangerous platform, number one, was what I believe. But, and I feel like he's just putting too much of his own identity, like layering it just all over the platform, his voice, and I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to leave Twitter and it's just going to be left with a bunch of Elon Musk fanboys. And like I said, in that case, then I'm taking back my $8 and I just can't justify it because that's probably not even the people that I want to interact with. So it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he made a bad business move in acquiring Twitter. He put himself in a bad situation and having a bunch of debt. Now he has to service this debt. So he has to, he fired a shitload of people. It seemed like just recklessly to a point where he actually fired a lot of people that actually really need. So they're trying to get some of those people back. It just seems like Twitter's on fire right now. And I don't know like when the dust settles, like what does Twitter look like? Who's there? How does it operate? Because I feel like things are going to be changing on a daily basis, just based off of like Elon Musk's mood and who gets him upset on Twitter. So we'll see. That's my final verdict on Twitter. But how are you currently feeling about Instagram and YouTube and any other what other platform do you post to all do you post pretty much everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, Twitter, I still get the most engagement on. Had a long conversation with Wendy Day the other day about TikTok. And so I'm
Any gems from that? Like how are you feeling about TikTok?
the gem was just stop whining and just post every damn day and as much as you can, which is something I haven't done. I mean, I'm the guy that is always saying, if you're not doing what others are doing, if you haven't tried what others have tried to find their success, then you have no room to really complain, at least about your own journey. I can complain about the platform all day because I don't like how these platforms switch up on you and try to force you into a corner to pay your way out. But yeah, I would be a hypocrite if I said, I'm sick of TikTok. I'm not getting any love on TikTok. Same with YouTube. I do want to talk about this too. That this is kind of the topic I wanted to cover.
Well, before you get to YouTube, let me give my opinion on TikTok real quick because we've seen just a lot of
Yeah.
variance in like our posts, like and I'm speaking for Big Job because I typically he doesn't really touch TikTok that much, and I still think that a lot of the numbers on most platforms are, not the most accurate numbers, but at the end of the day, like people are there. I just don't know who's real, who's not. But there are people on TikTok, and we've been posting pretty regularly. And like, we got 500,000 views on one post, and then like the next post will get like 5,000. Like, you just never know like which ones are gonna pop. So going back to your point, just being consistent, is probably the best strategy for TikTok because our numbers continue to grow. Like Ja has it's inching up like a snail on Instagram. Like I think we're at like 660,000, but like TikTok continues to grow, pretty decently. We're at like 818,000 or something like that. And obviously we started TikTok way after, we started Instagram. So we continue to see growth on that platform. And I think just being consistent. The problem I have a couple of problems with TikTok. One is I just don't feel like the numbers are accurate. But two, for our content, like we're always getting like community guideline strikes, and we're always getting like our videos muted. And Jaws stuff has cussing and stuff like that. But like I go on I go on TikTok and I see other pages of like people getting shot and people, saying the craziest things. And like, how is this stuff getting past your community guidelines algorithm or whatever? And our stuff continues to get muted. Somebody told me to just switch it back because we had a business page and we switched it back to a creator page. And they said that it should be more stuff should be allowable if you're a creator as opposed to a business, but our shit's still getting muted. Like hella posts are still getting muted. So that TikTok is so what we have to do to get past some of those community guideline strikes is, we have to upload a video and then put a song in it and then turn the volume all the way down so that for some reason that trick allows us to make sure our videos don't get muted. However, now none of our sounds are going to get shared because the sound is actually just the song, even though you can't hear it. So nobody's going to reenact our videos, reenact our skits. So we're losing out on that potential viral piece. So yeah, that's my rant on TikTok. But anyway, you were talking about YouTube.
Well, yeah, I was just saying that I wanted because I saw a website. It was an article on Bandzoogle actually, which is a website that a lot of musicians love. And the article is titled "The 6 Best Websites to Sell Beats Online," and it's not an exhaustive list. And I also do want to differentiate between a beat selling platform and a source of external traffic. So your beat selling platform is where the sale actually happens, and then the traffic is where the people are, and you take people from those places and you direct them to your beat stores. So YouTube, for example, is a traffic source. You can't actually sell beats on YouTube. You can only get people to listen to your beat, like it enough to click on a link to like a BeatStars or an Airbit link, right? And when I talk to producers, my opinion is this: wherever there are people, your beat should be there. Just put them there, see what happens, give it a year's time at least. And after a year, then you can reevaluate which site you want to use, which site, because if SoundCloud just isn't working out for you, then drop SoundCloud. If Audio Mac is what's working out for you, then focus more attention on that. But you're not going to know until you do it for a long enough period of time. So I want to just ask you, Dan, given your experience and your opinions, what do you think of this list? And it's an old list, but I still think it is a good conversation piece just because producers are looking for this kind of information. So the 6 best websites to sell beats online. Number 1 is your website. Now, granted, I understand why they're saying this, because Bandzoogle provides a website, so they're obviously trying to hype that up, right. Which I think is fine to a degree. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think that's probably for more established producers that maybe have an email list or have some traction in other places. Because if you're just starting out and you just have a website and your social media isn't strong, like, you would think that you would also want to be part of a marketplace where like hella artists are searching for beats. You probably want your beats in the mix so you can start building some of those relationships and getting those sales early. But ultimately, yeah, I think you want people coming to your website. So I don't think it's wrong. I just think it's, if you're a new producer, you want your beats in a lot of places.
And I'm amazed at how many producers and beat makers don't actually have like a BeatStars account or whatever in this day and age. And you ask them, well, how are you selling beats? And like, oh, just, I ask people to email me, and those days are over. I mean, I don't even, if I want to purchase something and someone says, send me an email, we'll discuss. I'm like, I'm not sending you shit. That's just weird to me. Send me a link. Like, this is the era where everyone has some kind of Etsy, some kind of Shopify, something. Right. I'm not going through, because you want that trust of the platform. People have grown to trust platforms. So instead, like, there's a reason more people trust, eBay or Amazon than Craigslist, because Craigslist is just human to human. Whereas with Amazon or eBay, there's a whole process for reporting fraud or, whatever. There are protections in place. There's legitimacy with these beat selling platforms. There's paperwork. There are all these things that are appealing to a person who doesn't want to spend money and get burned. But what they say under the first item, I think is really helpful. It says your website plays a central role in you selling beats online. Social media platforms may come and go. Search engine algorithms may change, and even laws and regulations may restrict access to certain websites. That's all true. But if you have your own website, you can mitigate against risk and ensure that you always have a relevant online presence. Blah, blah, blah. Your website lends credibility to your name because it elevates your status as a pro. Again, I don't know what you would be doing without a website, how you'd even exist in 2022. Be sure to capture emails of your visitors by offering something free, good advice. Also note you can sell beats on your website commission free. That's just kind of what it is. I know there are weird conspiracy theories out there about certain platforms, but they're just not true. There is, however, this kind of, I don't know if you ever saw this conversation, Dame, where it was like people were advocating for beat makers to set up their own websites completely independent of any platforms. And it was always this argument like, don't get a BeatStars, set up your own website. And I'm like, if you price that out, I have 2,000 beats. You know how much bandwidth that is? With free downloads and everything, that's a hell of a lot of money to pay. I'd be paying way more just for the hosting, not to mention me not knowing how to set up the infrastructure. I'd have to pay someone to do that, pay someone for the graphics. If there's support needed, like when we were running, when MEC was a website and it was totally independent, anytime something went on where we needed maintenance or something, we had to pay the guy. So
yeah, I think our first Funk Volume website, we used to sell beats like directly from our site. Like we didn't use any service. And I just remember it being a pain in the ass, like for one reason or another. So there's really no reason. I mean, I guess unless these sites start taking like a percentage and you're doing a lot of revenue, I don't see a reason to just build out something custom.
When they turn into Twitter Blue for producers, right?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I don't, so I'm trying to figure out how we got here.
Oh, my list. So I'm
your list.
And I don't
we're only on one.
Yeah, we're still on one. The other ones, I think the second one is beat selling platform, but it would just be, all beat selling platforms. I wonder why they picked that particular platform. Number 3 was Facebook, which they do mention advertising. So now it would be Meta. So using the Meta platform to advertise, which, hey, I do. So I agree with that. And also, we were talking about Facebook's algorithm earlier and how trash it is. It is. YouTube's algorithm is, I'm just going to say, terrible. And I'm saying this in a video that you may be watching on YouTube. I'm so sick of that shit. But when I look at my Google Analytics for my BeatStars account, YouTube is still sending me the most traffic. And so even and I talk to people that are like, it's not even worth it. Producers are like, I'm not even going to start a YouTube. It's not even worth it, because they're seeing the landscape and seeing how saturated it is or how low the numbers are for a lot of people. And it's like, that's not a good reason not to be present.
Well, we actually we have a positive experience with YouTube right now. Like, not to derail from this list, we'll go back to your list. I know we're on 4, right? But I do want to say that, like, obviously we're having Big Jaw's having a lot of success with his current series, The Lesbian Homie 2. And it already had a fan base, one of his biggest series, so it was going to do well. But I think it's doing even better because we're using every aspect of YouTube to really push it, right? So obviously we're posting the video, but we're premiering the video, we're pinning comments, we're live in the chat when it premieres. Like, we've been having over 10,000 people join the live premiere every week. I think all videos of substance should be using the premiere function so that you can have this page that you're promoting before the video goes live that starts to get traction, right? Like, even our video that's dropping next week already has like 2,000 likes and a bunch of comments. So that's telling the YouTube algorithm, like, hey, there's a lot of interest in this. A lot of people are clicking the notify me button, so that when it goes live, a lot of people are going to tune in. But beyond that, we're also posting a lot of YouTube shorts. Some of our YouTube shorts have millions of views. There's one that we posted a few weeks ago that is like 8 million views, 9 million views, something like that. So we've been consistent with YouTube Shorts. We've been consistently posting to his YouTube story. And then finally using the community page, his community tab, which is it's more of like a message board on, I don't know how many people even know that the community tab exists, but it's kind of like a message board. And what we've noticed is, you can post videos there, like links to videos, but what's worked the best is just a raw photo, a raw screenshot from an episode, no graphics on it or anything, and then just put the link to the video in the description. And we've been getting a lot of traction on those raw photos on the community tab. So like, it's gotten me excited to continue to release more series because, we're seeing so much success. So I know that you had mentioned that the algorithm is a little suspect, and it might be. However, all these platforms, they want you to use everything, all the little tools and things on the platform to try to maximize the content. And if we did everything that we're doing for YouTube for all the other platforms, we'd probably get a better response. But it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot to replicate what we're doing on YouTube with, Facebook is going to continue to decline because they just keep doing shit that to me is just anti-creator. So we're still there, but it's tough. Yeah, Facebook is tough. But anyway, long story short, use all of the features on YouTube if you're really going to be investing in a YouTube presence. And I think you'll start, as long as your content is resonating with people, you'll start to see, some success if you're consistent with it. So yeah, anyway, we can get back
to speaking on anti-creator, ContentID. It doesn't get more anti-creator than that, because on the one hand, you can use ContentID to steal. And on the other hand, when you're not stealing and when you're creating, collaborating, and so forth, you're being penalized by ContentID. So it's entirely anti-creator. I don't know how that's going to play out. I think we've run that conversation into the ground, but that's the underlying current on all of these platforms.
Yeah.
And that's getting worse.
Shit, on Facebook, right? So Facebook doesn't have ContentID. I don't know what it has. I don't know what they call it, but like obviously
it's something they have that identification system.
We put music in our sketches, right? And normally when they get flagged on YouTube, we can reach out to the artist, to the distributor, and they can whitelist our channel, and we can continue to monetize. On Facebook, what we're finding out is there's nothing we can do to follow up, and they're giving 80%. Like if even if a song is only playing for like 5 or 10 seconds, they're telling us that 80% of the revenue from this video is going to the music rights holders. And they're basically like I hit up the distributor. CD Baby was one of the distributors, and they were like, "There's nothing we can do." I was like, "What do you mean? There's nothing you can do? Like we have an agreement with these artists and producers that we can use this music." And now they're still taking 80% of our revenue from these videos, and there's nothing we can do. So all of these platforms, man, you're going to have your frustrations. But right now, my biggest headache is Facebook for sure.
I mean, Meta too, in general, because this is happening on Instagram and it's the same. But what I'm noticing with YouTube as well, I'll get, I'm getting copyright claims all the time because somebody used my beat and claimed it, or somebody used a splice sample and claimed it. And now I'm getting these copyright claims where it won't even show me who is making the claim against me because the content's not published yet. So wow. It's getting, this ContentID stuff is getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Hey, but back to the list on the best ways to sell beats. So I think we're on 4, right?
Yeah, 4 is YouTube. Okay. 5 is Twitter, which we already talked about. 6 is SoundCloud. I think SoundCloud is still a contender.
So I don't even, what is this? Because it's like, it's, obviously the top, like the top was website, right? This is where you actually sell your beat. Like none of these other things are where you actually sell your beat.
That's why I said we have to differentiate between a website or an e-commerce site and an external traffic source. When we're talking about the funnel, your fun at the top of your funnel are all these different traffic sources. At the end of your funnel is an actual purchase link on your
Right.
website, right? So that's the customer journey. And then they list all this other stuff. Like I said, it's not an exhaustive list because Audio Mac's not on there, Rap Chat's not on there, Voicey isn't on there. There are a lot of other platforms that could be on there, but they list Bandcamp, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. I don't know how you would sell beats on Pinterest, but I'm sure there's a way. Telegram, which is, I thought it was a communication app.
Do you know anybody using Koji to sell beats through? I'm sure Koji has. I mean, I know
I
that you
thought
can
I
sell,
did.
I know you can sell just downloadable files, which essentially a
Yeah.
beat can be. I just wonder if there are producers utilizing Koji to, and Koji I don't want to dumb it down, just say it's a smart link because they have like it's a way to have like an experience and in it it's a smart link that links to they have a lot of other apps within it that you can transact. Like you don't have to leave Instagram. Like you just kind of open it up. It opens up in the Instagram browser or web browser. If you don't use Koji or haven't heard of them, check them out. They got a lot of cool functionality within their smart
Well,
links.
according to them, as of this year, the beginning of this year, this is what their tweet said. Today, we announced the launch of Locked Audio, a new app that lets creators instantly sell beats, archive podcast sounds, secret audio messages, and more. So,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
guess that's already out there.
if I was a producer, I would have my beats on everywhere. I think you said this earlier in the podcast. Like wherever people are, what do you have accounts with other like I know you're like mainly BeatStars, but like I know producers that will have an Airbit, that will have a BeatStars, that will have a United Masters, whatever that's called. I forget if they have a different name for it. Um, is that what you would suggest? Like I don't see a reason not to.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to have multiple like merchant accounts, but as far as everything else, I'm everywhere that I can be. I want to direct as much traffic to the end of my funnel as possible. I feel like if I'm directing my traffic at 3 or 4 different endpoints of the funnel, then that's just kind of scattered.
Right. But do you feel like so if you had an Airbit, I don't know how many people like how many artists like go to Airbit. Like why wouldn't you have an Airbit account too? Even if you didn't promote it at all, like if they have a marketplace, like there's probably some artists looking for beats all throughout, their entire marketplace. So
Yeah, I don't know if their marketplace is the same. Like
it's definitely not the same. Obviously, BeatStars has the most traffic, the most artists
yeah.
to their platform. But
Well, now I'm
yeah,
looking at this Koji thing. I'm trying to go down that rabbit hole because if that can integrate right into Instagram, then I want to figure that out. But the way I look at it is, it can't be. This is another topic. A lot of people look at selling beats online as passive income, and I would absolutely wholeheartedly disagree with that. I mean,
yeah,
if I uploaded 1,000 beats 5 years ago and I haven't made a beat since or done any kind of website maintenance or customer service, I'd say, yeah, that's passive income. If I'm making a living off of it, but
right.
I'm working to this day like 12 hours a day
Yeah,
and doing a ton of customer service, like even my ads. One of the biggest benefits of the ads is not that they direct people directly to my BeatStars. It's that that's half of it, but the other half is that it starts conversation, and then I can start DMing them and answering questions and explaining the process so that we build up rapport and trust, and that's how I make I convince them to make the purchase.
Yeah, I think a lot of people can confuse like just selling digital goods with passive income. Like just because you're not actually shipping something out, that's not passive income. Passive income is like interest that you earn, or the things that you're not doing anything. Like you invested in it,
Yeah.
now you're just chilling and you're earning either interest or getting paid dividends or stuff like
I
that.
feel like in the music business, there's just a lot of gray area because the music business is unique. So even if you were to say, well, royalties, I'm getting royalties, that's passive income. But if you did a whole tour the year previous and you did a bunch of college radio promo or Spotify marketing and this, that's not passive because you actively were seeking out those plays. Maybe a decade from now, if that song is regarded as a classic and whatever technology, I don't know if radio or streaming is going to be around, certainly won't be the same 10 years from now. But if you're monetizing those songs that you haven't done anything for and you haven't toured, you haven't done anything, and you're still getting thousands of dollars every quarter off of those royalties, then I would say, all right, these royalties have transitioned into the realm of passive income, but it's certainly not the same as an investment,
Right.
a
No, for sure.
traditional investment, I should say, in the financial sector.
For sure. All right, man. Well, I mean, I think we can wrap it up. I don't know if we if we got close to excellent at all this
Yeah,
episode.
without Aaron around here, we have no excellence metric.
So hopefully people still enjoyed our rants today about social media and selling beats. Hopefully Erin will be with us next week. We definitely miss her. Payne, you got any updates or final words?
I have no more wisdom to offer, but we appreciate you tuning in. Next week, we're gonna delve into maybe some more contentious topics. I think today was more informative than anything, and we appreciate it all. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Till next time, peace.
Peace.